The subject of this video is what to do when something unexpected hits you, or how life hits you to awaken you. You've probably heard the expression, waiting for the other shoe to drop. It means expecting something negative or problematic to happen as a result of something else already happening, and it suggests more trouble is coming. The phrase is a metaphor for anticipating the next negative impact. So when people say they're waiting for the other shoe to drop, they often feel anxiety about something coming along in the future, or they have some tension like something bad's about to happen, or they have a foreboding feeling and an expectation of some negative consequence. For example, yeah, he said he was sorry, but I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. There's always more drama coming from this guy. Another example is the company has just announced layoffs, and now everyone is just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Or things are going too well, but I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Sometimes this is also called Murphy's Law, because the expectation is so common. Murphy's Law states anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And yeah, it's a rather pessimistic way to acknowledge that if there's a possibility for something to fail or get complicated, it probably will, and often at the worst possible moment. It seems that such things are so common that they've become part of the human experience and part of our vocabulary. So in this video, I'm going to cover steps that you can use when something unexpected hits you, and also why this happens. Think about what you do when something hits you and triggers a reaction. And this is important, so listen. First of all, whatever hit you or whatever happened could not have missed you. It had to hit you. Why? Because all the forces necessary were set in motion and orchestrated somewhere in consciousness before you experienced them. So you could say, in other words, everything is karmic. What that means, everything is a product of forces and beliefs that you've set in motion somewhere in your past. The frustrating aspect of all of this is, in almost all cases, you don't remember or know why all these causes are there. But you can safely assume that you participated in setting yourself up by past action or reactions or conclusions. And it ultimately all comes down to what your deepest held beliefs are. So if you believe that something can go wrong, it increases the probability and likelihood that it will, because you can correctly conclude that you're putting out intentions. And those intentions are going to begin forming and reflecting back to you a negative consequence. So let's take a look at how this works. What do you do when you find yourself caught when something negative happens, or you have an issue, or a reaction to something that someone says or does? I'd like you to call to memory something negative, or something that has happened more than once, or an issue that you can remember that you got trapped by or you were thrown off center about it. Perhaps you can think of something that happened recently, or at least something that stands out in your memory that hit you out of the blue, unexpected, unwanted. What type of negative experience do you typically find happening? Or what's an example of something that has happened that throws you off and triggers a negative emotional reaction? So what I'm asking you to recall is maybe something physical. Maybe you were confronted with something, or you had an accident, or maybe you just had an emotional reaction to something that someone said or did. or it could be something physical, or it could be an emotional reaction. But something that surprises you or just spins you out, trips you up. Maybe it would help to bring someone to mind who tends to upset you, or maybe knocks you off center when you think about the person. Maybe a former relationship. So take a moment, think of a person or a situation that gets to you, and the type of situation that provokes your reaction. And then briefly replay the reaction in your mind. All right, now recognize you are caught with a reaction. Acknowledge what your reaction is to the situation as you witness yourself in memory. Prior to becoming conscious of how things work, you go through life thinking that your life is a setup drama of one trap after another. Or maybe you're cursed by some ancestral karma or ancestral pattern that keeps getting handed from generation to generation. But there really are forces and processes that are at work, and it's important to acknowledge that. Your soul is working to unfold something from within you. It's wanting you to evolve, and it does this by pushing patterns up to the surface that you've relied on in the past, but that do not get you what you want. Or if they do get you what you want, it's usually at the expense of a loss or some pain. Negative situations and reactions do not emanate from the soul. They emanate from some defensive patterns that the ego personality has created. And by becoming aware of what's going on in your life and watching yourself, you can start to wake up to the way your life has been working and why. And when you do that, you come to a place of choice. And what I'm going to explain here does take some practice. And so you're going to need to give yourself some patience and maybe feel a little bit merciful and forgiving of yourself when you don't handle things the way you would like. It happens to just about everybody. So please be gentle with yourself. At this point, simply observe yourself. And the first step is to recognize what is going on. So look at the issue, acknowledge it. What is the conclusion that you came to about what happened? And what emotions are associated with your situation? Describe it to yourself in a sentence. And now you come to the moment of choice. It's actually pretty simple. Do I want this in my life? Or do I want the soul in higher life to manifest? And so this is a choice moment where you can start changing the forces of creation in your life. When you feel anger, or you're defensive, or you feel guilty, or fearful, or you hold hate or blame, and you project that onto someone else, you're caught in the emotions of a situation and not in touch with what's really going on. What you manifest doesn't appear without an underlying cause or causes. There can be multiple forces. When forces are in action causing the situation to arise in your life, is it something that you said or did? Or did it seem to just come up out of nowhere? And also bring to mind, has this pattern been repeating over the years? You may have been arguing with God or the universe as why you have to be experiencing what you're going through. Why me, Lord? I'm a good person. Why am I having to put up with all of this? So these are good questions. What could be the reason this pattern is happening in your life? Could you be generating something that attracts or causes it? Or maybe your soul is wanting you to change the way you handle these kind of situations. You see, all of your reactions and other people's reactions are goal-oriented. They're trying to get you somewhere, usually to a more safe and secure place. That's kind of the role of the ego. It's a fear-driven, security-seeking mechanism. And one of the ways it does that, one of the major ways it does that, is by trying to control you and control how you react. But it's a vain attempt to make you feel right and to be in control. And there's so many things where you're not in control. But this creates a lot of fear in this ego personality, because if you're not in control, you're out of control. And if you're out of control, that means you're not safe. So your reactions can shape the way you believe, the way you think. And it's really important because they set in motion causes. So what is your reaction in the condition and the circumstance that you brought to mind? What is it trying to do? What's it trying to create? Or you could say, what is its goal? Maybe you're trying to feel more positive about yourself. Well, at least I'm not like that person. Or I know I'm right and he's wrong. I'm better than that person. I would never treat anyone like that. These are self-justifying responses. They're defensive, and they often include blaming or criticizing the other person. It's an attempt to feel better about yourself and put the other person down. It's an attempt to be in control. Defensive reactions are from a fear reaction of feeling out of control. Defensive reactions are from a fear reaction to feeling out of control. It comes from a strong need for control. So, what is your reaction trying to create? And when you find out what it's doing, it's going to help you to clear it and heal it. Now, in addition to your defenses, you have an inner guide, your soul. The soul is always moving you in a direction to uncover more truth. But to get to the soul and the soul's truth, you have to go through layers after layer after layer that the ego has set up, and all of its defense mechanisms and all of its reaction mechanisms. And these include all of the judgments you've had about everything, all of your emotional reactions, all of your projections of criticism and blame, which present themselves in some form of pain and struggle and suffering or lack. And this is so well known. Some people say you live in a pain body. So the soul subtly and persistently moves your pain to the surface, and you need to look at it. But what usually happens is you ignore it or deny it. Or maybe you have a spontaneous reaction or overreaction without really even understanding what it was that happened. It seems like it's easier if you make it about somebody else. So it's easy to just say, well, that person's wrong. Or you pass the blame on to that person. one of the last places to look is within yourself. But if you don't do that, then you're not really seeing the total picture, or at least you're not seeing clearly or accurately. So the first point is to recognize you got caught, you reacted to a situation, maybe without thinking. The first step is to acknowledge what your reaction is to the situation, and then step back and become a witness of yourself. Recognize you're caught. Acknowledge what your reaction is to the situation. If it's self-justifying, it comes from a need to be right, which comes from a fear of being wrong or being rejected. Or it comes from a judgment about the other person or the projection of blame or criticism. Now, the second step is to identify the specific reaction of how you are reacting. It's important to identify it because you only pretty much clear and heal what you can identify. So the healing comes from being with it, being aware of it, tracking it, following it, surfing it. So it could be anger, could be guilt, or blame, or hate, or depression, or a judgment, or fear or worry, or some other negative reaction. And this is just a short list of some possible words to describe your reaction. But these are all signs that your soul is pushing something to the surface that you need to address. And your soul will keep putting something in front of you until you get it, until you address it, until you heal it. And this is precisely why circumstances repeat in your life over and over and over. So you come to a point of choice. You stop and you ask yourself some questions. It's important to explore your reactions and identify them before you can fully release them. So how would you label and describe your reaction? Usually one word or maybe a few words are sufficient. So how would you describe how you're reacting and maybe how someone else is reacting? Maybe you're upset and have resentment. So that's a form of anger. Or you blame or criticize the other person. Or you just come up with hatred for who that person is or what they did. Or maybe you come up in your mind justifying the reaction. Or you project a judgment, labeling the other person, making them wrong. This is the way your ego personality operates. It is a survival mechanism, and it has a need to be right. And it wants to justify its beliefs and its actions. And it's usually convinced it is right and the other person's wrong. So just be aware what it is thinking and doing. The second step is identify the reaction with one or two words that describes how you are reacting. And now on to the third step. What is your soul wanting you to grow into or evolve into? Do you want the reactive pattern, or do you want love and light of the soul? Instead of projecting out, you make a choice to look at yourself. And you ask the question, what is being presented to me here with what's going on? What do you want me to see and know? What do you want me to become? How would I react to this situation if I were a truly, deeply loving person? You see, each situation is always either a mirror of some part of you, or it's your soul guiding you to a more kind and loving way to respond. Now, I know it could be pretty challenging to believe that you have some places inside of you that are reflections of the way people are reacting toward you. Or maybe it could be there's something in you that wants to evolve, and the other people may be demonstrating what you need to recognize and know. So maybe what is being presented to you is to demonstrate to you that you are reacting from the ego personality defense arsenal and not from your soul-based love. If your reaction is not soul-based love, then it is an ego reaction, reacting to someone else's ego reaction, reacting to someone else's ego reaction. Most people do this. They're reacting to reactions. And most of the time, your reactions are likely to be coming to the surface from someplace that's unconscious. It's at least below your conscious level of memory until you discover it or recognize it. And then it hits you and you say, oh, now I get it. Why didn't I get that 10 years ago? It's so obvious. So explore your reaction now at this level and discover what is in you that the universe is mirroring back to you or putting a magnifying glass on for you to recognize. And I can give you a hint. Maybe it's just not being loving enough. Maybe that you're not kind enough or patient enough or forgiving enough. You see, it doesn't matter what the other person's actions are. They do not justify you reacting in kind. Your correct response is always going to be love. And you may have to figure out how to do that. So this third step is, what is your soul wanting you to grow or evolve into? The fourth step is containment. Containment means holding the space for mercy, compassion, and love for whatever is happening to you, regardless of our circumstances, regardless of what people are saying or doing. Okay, you got caught. Okay, you had a reaction that was negative. You observe yourself. You step back. You acknowledge, I reacted. And then you recognize that it is your loving soul assisting you to recognize the ego pattern that no longer serves you. Ego reactions will never get you what you want. They never really did. So now that you're aware of it, you can address it. That means you can clear it. You can heal it. This is meeting yourself where you are and holding an acceptance space or a containment for the process as you are going through it. It is your soul assisting you to recognize a negative pattern so you can heal. Containment is one of the foundational tools for walking through life while you maintain alignment with the highest enlightened awareness of your soul. Containment is holding the space of acceptance of the situation as it presents itself, so you can take the necessary steps to heal it and thereby evolve. I'll repeat that. Containment is holding the space of acceptance of the situation in the way as it presents itself, so you can take the necessary steps to heal from whatever it is. And that in turn is what enables you to evolve. Well, the first part of that says containment is holding a space of acceptance. You might be saying, well, how do you accept it when it's intolerable? You accept it because you recognize you have been participating in creating it. It was brought to you either as a mirror of something you hold somewhere in your consciousness or subconscious, something you may have set in motion, maybe in a past life. Maybe it's a negative karmic reaction coming back. Or it is there in your life, you attracted it to help you recognize that you need to refine your frequencies, and thereby you need to evolve to a higher level of being. What would be the higher level being response to the situation? Acceptance, unconditional love, forgiveness. Containment is also the ability to hold yourself or someone or some situation in love. If you are reacting with anything other than love, or if you're reacting with anything negative, then you're not holding containment. You are allowing a negative ego-based reaction to run wild rather than being contained. Reactions tell you you've lost containment and you need to regain that containment. Hold the space for recognizing the conditions came into your life for a reason. You may not know what that reason is. You probably won't. You may not know why it happened. You probably won't. But it does exist at this time in your life, and it's being presented to you so you can heal yourself and evolve. So now you have a new understanding. So you don't need to go into judgment on yourself, nor do you need to stay caught in the reaction. So before you get down on yourself, send yourself some mercy, some compassion, some love, some forgiveness, and acceptance. This is the way that you embody and express the light and presence of the soul. Those are the ways the soul would react. And as you keep opening these places inside of you, you expand the mercy, compassion, love, and acceptance. And it grows. It becomes more the natural part of who you are. So you want to be open and receive. And this is best done while you're in your heart. And I've covered that in a previous video. To open to the love and light in your deep heart, you hold a space of releasing, clearing and healing, and acceptance. While you acknowledge there is a difficulty facing you. Yeah, you don't like it. I'm not saying you have to like what's happening, but you can hold a containment to be in acceptance because you recognize it's there for a reason. Through holding your alignment with your soul, you can hold space for the other person and hold space thereby for something new to come in. What may come in will be a realization of deeper levels of patience, acceptance, mercy, love, trust. Through your spiritual evolution, your heart space grows. It gets larger and larger and larger, and it can contain what is happening in your world and what is happening around you. So you are extended and stretched through the challenges until eventually you become less reactive. You become more merciful. You become more trusting. You become more compassionate, more forgiving. about everything that is happening, mostly forgiving yourself. It wouldn't be in your life if there weren't something inside of you that attracted it, projected it, created it, or set the forces in motion that brought it to you. That's why it's there. And it'll keep coming back until you wake up and say, oh, now I get it. I'm not going to react with anger or with hate. I'm going to react with love and forgiveness and acceptance. So as you evolve, you become able to be with the events, with the pain, with the suffering of yourself or with others. And you find that you have more equanimity. There's like a peacefulness, an inner groundedness and a strength. You have more love that's unconditional, a deeper level of trust. So as you acquire and practice and become those are reflections of your soul. And love and trust of the soul are the real source of the healing. In fact, it's basically only your soul that can do that healing. And it is, in fact, what does heal. So look again at your situation. Now, be sure you're breathing deeply, not shallow in your upper chest, but breathing deeply, diaphragmatically. There's a tendency when we talk about these things to kind of breathe shallow and hold on, to contract. But in order to really heal from these things, you have to be able to face it, and you have to be able to be with it. And you want to be in your body and present with yourself, sensing, opening, feeling compassion, feeling love, feeling acceptance. And maybe you're used to turning away from it, from whatever hurts you. Maybe your way of dealing with it is just shutting up and being quiet, not saying anything. Or maybe it's just denying it, or in your mind, thinking things about the other person. So staying with the breath is important. It helps you to be present. You have to come to the place where you can accept that whatever is happening is a reflection of some part of an identity that you created. So, for example, if you acknowledge to yourself that I have an identity that gets upset and it holds anger and sometimes even hatred for what is happening to me and happening around me. And yes, I judge myself and I judge other people and I project blame, and this all makes me afraid. Now, you could collect all of those things I just listed and collectively call them the ego personality, because that's what they are. They are not you. They are constructed defense mechanisms and reactions of the ego personality that's driven by fear to try to protect itself. These things certainly do not come from the soul. They cannot come from the soul. It's impossible. Therefore, they are not the real you. So remember, the fourth step is containment. And that brings us to the fifth step. The fifth step is to inquire to know the truth. So now you've arrived at this point, and you say, show me the truth, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. I don't care how bitter a pill it is to swallow or how difficult it might be for me to accept it. I want to know what it is. I want to know the truth. What do you want me to understand? What is the truth? What is the teaching? What is there for me to learn from this? My beloved soul presence, help me to understand. Teach me the truth on this issue. Now, you may not get an immediate response to that. You may not get an immediate answer, but you need to ask that question. You ask for help. You ask for understanding. You ask for the truth. The answer may come later or tomorrow or maybe next week. But if you keep asking those questions, asking for that help, you will get it. The universe will respond because you see, the universe is like a big mirror. It's always going to reflect back to you. And every event is leading you somewhere. So this is really part of you finding your way back home. Where does the soul live? What kind of an environment does your soul come from? What is the circumstance trying to lead you toward? If you were to clear all of the judgments, all of the reactions, and even your perceptions on the issue, where would you be? What would be left? What would be your state of mind? No reaction, no judgment, just the objective awareness of what took place. Everyone has generally at least two core main issues that they deal with in each lifetime. So here's a little piece of a list of what I mean by core issues that I'm referring to. Such things as anger or hatred. Those are kind of rooted in the same thing. And those are really core issues. A negative self-image and lack of love is a core issue. So where you just feel inadequate, or you feel unworthy, or you feel less than, or smaller than, or lower than a worm's belly, you feel pretty rotten. Another core issue is victimization. Virtually everyone has felt they've been victimized somewhere, sometime in their life. Almost everybody has from time to time closed down with fear. Almost everybody has some armoring around their heart because they've been hurt in a relationship, or they were rejected, or they were betrayed. Another core issue is feeling abandoned. Betrayal is a really strong kind of a feeling, and that hits you right in the heart. And often it comes in from the back. The expression, I felt like I was stabbed in the back, that's a type of betrayal. Everybody has experienced some kind of lack or loss. That could be a core issue. Getting depressed could be a core issue. Feeling unworthy or guilty, or doing something to try to make up for the guilt. A feeling of being lonely and isolated, that could be a core issue. Feeling out of control is a core issue. Feeling and believing there's something wrong with you. Almost everybody has a version of that. And there could be all kinds of other negative issues and beliefs that are unique to your life. Your core issues have many ways that they can manifest and come to the surface. And they can take many months and usually even years to clear, because there are so many subcomponents that make up the core issue. If you don't get help with this, it could take lifetimes to clear these things. So you do find that a lot of times negative core issues carry over from one lifetime to another. So how do you go about clearing these deep, long-lasting core issues? When you feel like you are stuck and you're not moving, this means that you are not opening to what your soul is trying to open for you. You're in resistance. What do you do with resistance? What is the solution to every question or issue? I've covered this in at least 2 videos that I've done already. When you get to the place where you are willing to totally surrender, the issues will clear rapidly. The key here is the word total before the word surrender. You want to come to a place where you know there is nothing you are defending or needing to hold on to. Be willing to surrender absolutely everything. Total, full, complete, deep surrender. Letting go of every argument, every justification, every objection, every wanting, every needing. And as you do surrendering, clearing and healing in this way, you're going to sometime have memories come up. Not always, but quite often there'll be pictures that'll pop up. And the pictures are actually memories that'll come into your head. And if you notice this, just keep moving with them. Observe them. You don't have to do anything with them. But you want to keep surrendering. So no matter what the picture is or the memory is, you just say, thank you for letting me know, and I am willing to surrender and release all need for you. This is a way you keep clearing off all of the personality structures that your ego has created. And your soul is intelligent. It is highly intelligent. It knows exactly what it is doing. It is the orchestra conductor of your life. And so it gradually raises to the surface what it knows that you are ready to deal with. So the soul is what helps bring to the surface what you need to address. So your job is to relax and recognize that there's a process going on here. You don't have to know why. You don't have to know all the details. You don't have to do anything. You just be willing to let go and bring in the clear light of truth that washes through you, that comes as you connect with the soul and you merge with the soul and you have it fill your body, and it fills your energy field, fills all your aura layers, it fills your chakras. And so while I'm going through this now, just imagine that you're under a liquid golden light waterfall, pouring very pure golden light all through your body, all around you, washing, clearing, dissolving everything other than the soul. And the soul, anchored in the center of your body, is radiating golden light in every direction, all through your body, from the center of your chest up through the top of your head, down through your legs, and out your bottom of your feet. And inviting the soul to merge into all of your thoughts, beliefs, feelings, pictures, and memories. You've been carrying around some of these for lifetimes. So sustain your intentions of surrendering all resistance and open to receive deep, complete clearing and healing. Be aware of how you are affected by what comes into your life. Be aware of where the pain hits you. Notice it. Just be with it. Acknowledge it. And bring the clearing light of the soul into the pain, into the struggle, into the suffering. As you are with the situation and following it and surfing what is coming up, you'll be able to bring a clearing and healing presence to the situation and bring in deep peace and love, because that's what the soul is made out of. So the more you clear the disturbance, the more peace and love you're going to feel and have in your life. You may not see or feel all the effects right away. Of course, it's a process, but there's a ripple effect. You've set something in motion. You've asked the soul for help. You've invited it in. You've asked it to merge. You've asked it to dissolve and heal, and it will begin helping you to do that. And notice, you are with a process now because you've asked for it, and that's all you have to do. So the fifth step that we've just covered is to inquire to know truth. Now, to help you go further, we come to step number 6. And step 6 is to ask yourself, what do I believe will happen to me if I let go of all of the reactions and beliefs causing the issues? What will I become without the issues and reactions? Who will I be without issues and reactions? What is the truth on this? What will my life be without issues and reactions? You'll transform as you keep allowing more and more light in the soul to fill you, and you allow it to deepen and integrate into you. So keep letting it in, inviting it in, intending for it to come in, asking for it to come in, asking it to emerge, asking to integrate, asking it to merge and dissolve everything unlike itself. So first you hold a space for yourself, and all these places inside of you will open, and then you learn to hold a space for allowing others. And this is what evolves you in a spiritual way. You become a beacon of love, of light, of truth. In the deep unity, we are all interconnected and one. But in your individuality, you have different gifts to give. And as the light moves through you, you emit a different quality from every other person. It is the movement of those qualities through your soul and heart that creates the changes that you are seeking. You are saying yes to what you are receiving, even if it's a little bit challenging, but you say yes, okay, I recognize this is something I need to experience. You may not know what it's going to look like. You may not know where you're headed. But what does come, and the path keeps opening before you, is going to lead you to the next leap in your consciousness, your next leap to a higher ascending life. Each condition and event that comes to you is your soul guiding you to your next step. That's the soul's way of moving you, so you can have a different way of relating to issues in the future. Each step presents itself, and you keep going. This is your journey on your path, moving toward home. And the path opens and clears before you as you surrender and let go and allow and receive. You see, the game of life is actually a game of boomerangs. Your thoughts, your words, your actions all return to you in kind sooner or later with accuracy. So to attain a spiritual state of enlightenment, be aware of blessing everything in your world. Everything has assisted you, even if it seemed to be resisting you, even if you don't understand why, even though you're going through something that is rough or tough. So rather than complaining, why must I go through this? You think and thank the challenges are there for a reason, and they're blessings. They come into your life as blessings to help you evolve, to help you better understand the mechanisms that have made your life what it is. So thank everything from your soul, which is a presence of love and acceptance. And that frees you from all the resistance to anything. And when enough love has gone forth to bless everybody and everything that has ever contacted your life, then your life becomes more like effortless effort, and it becomes an autopilot of happiness. There are no more pulls to the conditions of the outer world that block you or set you up to be blindsided. When the release comes from the things that have held you or the negative conditions, because you've poured enough love through them and you release all resistance to them, then you are free to complete your enlightenment and ascension journey. Love is the way. Nothing will seem difficult. Nothing will seem to be a struggle when you've embodied that. Everything will simply be an opportunity to send forth more love and more blessings, more gratitude, more receiving, and more allowing. So just be open. Allow yourself to receive. Your soul knows what you can handle. It knows what you need. And take a little time each day and just practice blessing everybody and everything, blessing them with a deep gratitude. Everything has been placed in your world to assist you to evolve. So think of some people and situations for whom you may have been a little bit in judgment about, or you've had difficulty with. Maybe it was a long time ago. Wish them blessings. Bless them with peace. Bless them with happiness. Bless them with healing. Bless them with goodness. Bless them with abundance. Wish them every happiness and prosperity. And observe and receive the gifts that you send to others, because we're all one. So as you bless others, you also bless yourself. What you send out returns. You want to bless everyone and everything in your life because they're there for you and for whatever needs that you've had for them to be there. Surrender every event, every thought, every feeling, every belief, and you will receive an avalanche of support and love. You can say, I surrender the burden of lack and resentment, and I go free. I surrender the burden of lack and resentment, and I go free. As the subconscious and unconscious release their final fears and doubts, the manifestation of all good will come. There are no enemies external to you. Everything is self-created and co-created with others. As you change, the people and circumstances in your life will either change or they will leave your life. So say to everything, God bless you. The continued use of this statement will build a condition in you that blesses you. Now notice the energy and the light surrounding you. There is a quietness, a presence, a richness. It is a sacred space. It is peace. It is light. So surrender yourself, your heart, your intentions, your feelings. Acknowledge that you live in an ocean of light and love. And in the light, there is complete understanding, love, and acceptance. It's not necessary to wait lifetimes to embrace your enlightened destiny. It can be yours now. And in this video, I've shown you the way. So bring your awareness fully into your body with the realizations and consciousness shifts that you receive from this session. You're quite changed through many dimensions of reality. You are dwelling in the frequencies of love and happiness. You radiate the purest of light, the miraculous light of your soul. Say to yourself, I lock into these fabulous frequencies until it is time to move higher. I now bring all of my energy patterns into present time, into this moment, right here and right now. You've risen to a new vibration. You've changed. A higher vibration in light, into a greater realization of your truth. So bring yourself into your fully normal, alert, and aware state and feel deep gratitude and appreciation. Until next time, may you be blessed with love and light always. I am Jonathan Parker.